Morning. I've got a few things to make today. Friday seems to be my cooking day. Anyway, it is a day that I don't do any other work apart from Thermomix at this point in time, so it's a good day to get a few things done. And what I'm starting off with is apple sauce cake. So here we go. Oh, I've preheated the oven, but what I wanted to do first was just show you a little trick. So I've just saved the recipe there, but I've used my bowl already today, and I want to make sure it's super dry because the first thing I'm going to do, actually the first thing I'll do is chop up these a little bit because I need them a little bit further on in the recipe, but then I'm going to be milling sugar. So I need to have a super dry bowl for that. So the quickest way, the best way to do it is obviously wash and dry your bowl first, then turbo. And to get out of turbo, just hit the home button. Otherwise, the lid won't release. Oops, still didn't. Yes, it is. All right, so I'm just going to dry the top of my lid. I just made an immune boosting juice in here before because I make that most days, or have it most days. So with the, I've dried it before. See how wet it is? So it's wet. You get a lot of water coming off the blaze. So you can probably see I'm trying to dry in a clockwise direction so I don't make holes in my tea towel. All right, so I do that. It's still a little bit damp. And what I'm going to do is turbo it again. So I'm going to put that back on. Oh. Don't need to have the measuring cup in because there's actually nothing in there. Measuring cup, bit of a dry one. Okay. Only for that to release. Okay, so that's dry. A bit more around the lid. And the seal there looks a bit. Okay. And then that's actually looking pretty good. It's just a little bit damp on the bottom. Give it another dry out. So, you know, if you need a super dry bowl for anything, that is a really good way to do it. Wash it, dry it, turbo it a couple of times, drying out in between. All right, I think I'm just about there. All right. Okay, so on with the recipe. I come back to my saved recipe here. Oven's preheated. I'm doing mini muffins because I nearly always do, so I've just got that ready to go. Then it's asking me to put in my granulated sugar and stuff. But what I'm going to do, again, is save my recipe because, oh, hang on. So with all your recipes, you've got the 3 magic dots here. Click on there, recipe detail. And I know it asks me to have some pecans chopped already. I'm just going to weigh how much? 70 grams. It says walnuts, okay? So I'm going there. I'm going to bring my scales up. I'm going to weigh 70 grams. A little bit more, that's okay. Put my lid on. Get it in the cup. Okay. Out of there. Back to my home screen. I don't want them chopped up too much. Have a look at that and see if I've gone hard and fast enough. That'll do. All right. So I'm going to put them into another little bowl. There we go. So there they are. Some of them are still reasonably big, but you know they'll break down. You can cut them in half. There we go. All right. So now let's get on with the actual recipe. 160 grams of granulated sugar. So I've just got the raw sugar. Love using the raw sugar because it's obviously better for us than something more refined, and also because it comes in paper package, so it's easily recycled. Now, I don't tend to put in as much as this, so I'm a bit under there. That's fine. Oh, hang on, a little bit more. I'll go 120. All right. Cinnamon. So this I take to the sauce and I refill. 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. It's going in. Okay. The next one is a teaspoon of cloves. A bit harder to get out here. I've got more going straight into the bowl and into the teaspoon. And then the next one is nutmeg. 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. Okay. I have to say, I love nutmeg in these sorts of things. Really delicious. All right. 20 seconds on speed 10, milling that sugar. You can see this, but I got the sort of steamy stuff. It's just the very fine sugar coming out of top. Look at that. Ooh, amazing. So, oh my gosh, it smells divine. So it's asking me to put it into a bowl. So I'll put the bowl here ready to go. Now you can see if everything was really wet, it would just clump up. So you absolutely need to have a super dry bowl when you're doing something like that. My dog in the background. All right, so as always, we push everything down to the bottom of the bowl. Don't want to dry in a sec. There is a little bit left around the blades at the bottom here, but I'm not going to go back into the cave anyway. There we go. Beautiful. All right. 300 grams of cooking apples, quartered, cores removed. I think that's just under, but that's all right. 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. Here. Okay. Lid's going back on. 5 seconds, speed 6. Okay, so that's what it's looking like after our 5 seconds. Break down the sides. And we're just repeating that. So it is just turning it into a puree, really. Scrape down the sides again. Okay. Smells amazing. Okay. Then it's just going to cook. It is going to make it into a puree. 5 minutes of cooking. Okay. Now, whilst it's cooking, just keep in mind behind me. So that brown box there is actually for the old takeaway containers. So I just use them. I just reuse and reuse and reuse and reuse. We had takeaway last weekend. My husband was meant to be cooking, but he was exhausted. We had a huge week. And my daughter at the end said, well, you know, why don't we get takeaway? But honestly, I would say we do once a year because why? You don't need to. So anyway, I've got all the containers in there, and the other thing I do is I'm going to work. Some people have bought, take away salads, and they just leave the containers out, which so I use everything. So what I wanted to do was show you. Not yet. Let me find the 1 second. Put up there before. So what I have done is create a collection with this actually includes desserts, some slices in another thing, I think. But just to show you, I saw someone had made these the other day. I shouldn't think about making them, but it's got pastry on the bottom, granny, apple filling. That's probably why I forget some. And I don't know if you know that, so I sort of try and avoid everything that's super sweet. That's why I cut down on sugar. So if I think I usually just delete something. But just for your information, you can actually make condensed milk in your Thermomix. You know that, because you can. We'll find that recipe in a minute. But I thought these look really nice. Coconut and raspberry cupcakes. So I'm just doing this to give you a few little ideas. The mochi cake, that sounds amazing. This is an American one. So everything is in ounces, but it does come up in ounces on the screen of it. Okay. Flourless chocolate and nuts. Oh, there's some more ice cream. Quite fascinating. This sugar-free banana bread is amazing. All right. So it does have sugar. I mean, it's got the bananas in it, and it's got sultanas. So that is actually the sweetness in it, but it's a really delicious recipe, that one. Haven't made that. It's been there forever. I really should give it a try. These I make, but I'm going to make muffins. They are a staple in my husband's cookbooks. The raw chocolate brownies are also fantastic. This Swiss roll, again, I haven't made it. You can make it gluten-free, just substitute the gluten-free flour. And I tasted it somewhere, and it is delicious. The chocolate cake. Just a quick little tip on this one is go to the bottom and look for the quick chocolate cake. All right. In this chocolate cake recipe, we whisk the egg whites for 6 minutes. Okay. In the quick chocolate, you just chuck them in. And so what I've actually done with that, and you can go add here, you can add creative recipes, which I have done, and I have created it as the quick version. Oh, these carrot cakes, cupcakes, they are fantastic. They're really delicious. Again, a couple here that I haven't actually made. That one is on my list to try. There's a few here on my list of things to try. But just to give you your ideas, and honestly, all these cakes, you can make them as muffins or mini muffins if you want to. You just got to keep a bit more of an eye on them. These are really nice. They're very fresh. This is the best crumble. So I make this gluten-free. And the way I do that with the crumble, so it's got 100 grams of plain flour. The rolled oats, I have 3 oats you can get from the supermarket. It doesn't say they're gluten-free, but they are wheat-free. So I guess they're just with all the normal oats. So what I do with these is I actually do 100 grams of hazelnut, 100 grams of almonds to get the flour. So if you are gluten-free or eat gluten-free or know someone who wants to make something for someone gluten-free, that is a really delicious dessert. And that cake, oh my goodness, that is amazing. And I made some lemon curd last night, actually. And it takes 7 minutes. Amazing lemon curd. Not into the avocado icing, but that chili pineapple is to die for. That is, it's a sous vide recipe. Anyway, better get out there. Get back to our recipe. Anyway, I hope that's given you a little bit of inspiration about things to try. All right, so let's have a look at apple. So apple is all cooked down. Asking me to add the reserved spice mix. So I've got, this is the sugar, remember, and the spice. Oh, I want to talk to you about sugar too. The other thing. 300 grams of plain flour. Now I'm using gluten-free flour. 120 grams of unsalted butter, cut into pieces. 2 eggs, which are here. Some salt. Oops. So I've got a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of bicarb soda, right. Mix all of that up. Just show you what this looks like first. There we go. It's got that beautiful, that's all the spices colouring it like that. Let's scrape the sides down. And I want to talk about the sugar. So I do cut down my sugar. What I did make the mistake of one time was halving the amount of sugar. And that doesn't work. It was not a good cake. It wasn't the proper cake texture. It was really dry. The beautiful Irene made some inquiries and found out that you can cut down sugar by 30% and it won't change the structure. But if you cut it down for more than that, then the structure will change. So just be mindful of that if you're like me and you cut down on sugar. Right. I've got some sultanas here to go in. And those, it says walnuts, but I've got the pecans that chopped up at the beginning. "40 seconds, speed 2, reverse." So just going to mix all that stuff in. I love it when whilst it's processing stuff, you've got time to actually tidy up, put things away. I've just noticed this. This is my it's a butter wrapper. I don't know if you know about these with recycling them. Super hot water, and you can pull the 2 bits apart. This is foil, and that's obviously it's a papery thing. So, but it does need to be a really hot water on it to facilitate that happening. So they're obviously glued together. Right, transfer into. Well, I have to say I haven't mixed that well there, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of a mix around by hand with the spatula. There we go. Oh, so good. So now all I'm going to do is put it into these mini muffins. These you can get silicone mini muffin trays from the mix shop now. I don't know if you know this, you can actually go down to Moorabbin, a warehouse in Melbourne, spicy, and order things there and pick them up straight away. So that's really good. Anyway, I'm going to fill these up. You don't need to see me do that because there's a whole heap of them to do. But I'm going to wash my hands. The rest of the recipe. It says bake for 50 minutes to an hour. Obviously, it won't take as long as that. With these, leave to rest and then transfer to a cool. Delicious, warm or cold. Perfect with a cup of tea if you like tea, which I don't. Anyway, I hope that gives you a bit of inspiration, a couple of little tips in there. Just got to find where to stop recording because it's all changed. All right, have a good day.